Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Boss Method podcast. Today is January the 2nd. It's 2025. I'm joined here with some of the girls inside the Girl Boss Method. And tonight, we are going to be talking about setting the tone for the year. So, welcome to 2025. And this is your year to thrive. So, I think it's really important to start off the first quarter of the year with a fresh mindset, working through some things together, and also just thinking about maybe even making this year the most successful year yet. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of reflection on last year, look at setting some goals, lay out a plan to kind of build some momentum that will help carry us through 2025. And by the end of this session, I want you to feel fired up, hopeful, confident, and just really focused on achieving everything that you're sort of setting your mind to this year. Which is why I said bring a pen and paper, because we might go through and do some action points together. So I thought we'd start with some quotes. I'm sure if anyone else can dive in and think of some others, that would be great. But the secret to getting ahead is actually getting started. So congratulate yourselves first off. It's the 2nd of January. Most people are feeling a little bit rough around the edges after New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And you ladies have committed to showing up today, whether it's been big steps, small steps. Some of you have had work today. Some of you are still looking after family. You're still in holiday mode, but actually you've decided, do you know what? I'm going to come on. I'm going to show up tonight, and let's kind of set the tone for the year and start how we mean to go on. And then also just a reminder that you don't have to be perfect to be amazing. And I think it's really important to think about that, because quite often, so Seetal and I were just talking a moment ago before we recorded, before the others joined us, that quite often people will start the year all guns blazing. They're like fired up to like 200%. They're not like 100% or even maybe even 75. They're like 200%. And they carry that, they start with such crazy momentum that they almost lead to burnout, and they drop off by the time the end of the month comes, or February. I've spoken to people today as well that have sort of said that even with the gyms, it's so busy and then it quietens down. You get that January rush. And then you find out, by February, people have kind of like given up or forgotten about the goals or even their intentions. So one reason why I think it's really important to have that pen and paper down today is that, if you've got sticky notes or what have you, you can stick them on a wall. If you've got a little desk space at home, home office or something, you can just kind of have it pinned there. I think it's really nice to create things like vision boards, but also affirmation boards as well. I know this stuff can sometimes feel a bit cliche, but I think I like to think of words as spells. So when you say horrible, harmful things about yourself, you make them come true. Whereas when you say things that are like positive and inspiring, and even if it's not happened yet, the fact that you're telling yourself that something is going to happen, perhaps you're changing the chemistry in your mind, in your brain, and also with how we're setting out for the future. So just talking about what we're going to cover today. So we're going to think about reflecting on 2024 to start with. And this is obviously going to help us with our vision and our goal setting for 2025 as well. So we want to also think about creating that mindset as well for success, some habits that we want to work towards in terms of helping build momentum, and maybe even just go through a little visualization exercise and think about the next step. So actionable steps for January to kind of get us started strong as well. So we sort of think of lessons from last year, And before we sort of dive ahead, we're going to think about what we want to achieve this year. I want you to take a moment to reflect on what happened or what worked last year and what didn't. So, again, pen and paper. I'll give you a few minutes to do this. This is something that you can keep personal to yourself. You can take a picture of it. Maybe you can put it in a special folder on your iPhone or your phone, sorry, if you've got an Android. You can just leave a little reminder there. And you can also WhatsApp yourself. I don't know if you've ever tried doing that yourself, but you can either WhatsApp yourself or you can send an email to yourself with some of this stuff as well. And at the time, again, it might feel like you're being, over vulnerable or silly, but I think this stuff is really important to go back and look over. So whilst I am talking, just have a read of the things on the screen. Take some time to think about what you were proudest of achieving last year, what sort of challenges had arisen, what kind of stopped you moving forward, and then also bringing it back to the future. What's one thing that you are excited about improving this year? So, again, thinking about what held you back, try and do it in terms of reflection as opposed to judgment. So, don't think about this being sort of a negative words about yourself or anything like that. When you kind of think of it as more being what more critical but structural, in that sense that was it things like the lack of time? Was it something like motivation? Maybe there was a specific challenge that occurred that kind of stopped you from moving forward. Because I think it's really important that we do learn from, each year, each month, each occasion. I think these are the things that help propel us forward. And if any of you, whilst you're sort of writing things down and you're sort of reflecting and you're thinking about what you want to do moving forward, if you're actually happy to share, then feel free to unmute and let's have a go with some of those. So if anyone wants to unmute you, you go ahead. Don't feel compelled to, but yeah, thank you, Sital.
So I'd say my proudest achievements in 2024 were, I mean, I had a bit of social anxiety earlier in the year. So actually stepping foot into the gym, taking on some PT sessions, obviously prior to joining the Boss Method. And obviously one of my big achievements were to join the Girl Boss Method because I actually found something that works for me, as well as kind of works around my lifestyle. It's not about just what do you say, purely health and fitness. It's also mental well-being, and being able to accommodate that because we have a lot of external factors that can affect our mental well-being. So there was a lot of achievements or improvements in terms of just mindset and thinking about things differently, like working with this approach differently. Obviously, Richu, you know about my history about going through the weight loss journey so many times, and every time that I've gone through it, it's been quite smooth, but this time around it's a lot slower, because obviously I'm sort of like over 40 now, and then you've got to think about perimenopause and changes in hormones and cycles. Um, I think number two, what challenges held me back was before I joined the Girl Boss Method, I associated like my emotions with food, and it took me a very long time in terms of kind of separating the two. And I had obviously a lot of support from the girls in the Boss Method, and also yourself, Richu, which kind of helped me step by step to get out of that mindset. Um, and look at food differently. So kind of fueling your body for uh, eating food to fuel your body as opposed to associating it with emotions and then feeling really crap about it after. Um, and then, yeah, the one thing that I'm excited to improve, like I always have this picture up, like where I was 3 years ago, and that's where I want to be. Not where I had the blackout and I was in a complete deficit, but it was sort of mid-range. And I knew that I was at my happiest then. I was still enjoying the foods that I could eat. I was enjoying foods, but I wasn't like limiting myself as well, like to have this pressure or this image. So yeah, I mean, in terms of improving and starting off January, just checking off the check boxes step by step. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where I am sort of 6 months, I'm kind of breaking up my long-term goal into like smaller chunks, and then kind of seeing the progression from there and being a bit more focused and disciplined.
Absolutely. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much for sharing with us as well. I think definitely that's a really good, it almost sounds like you've done some of this reflection process already prior to coming on here. And I know it's been stuff that we've spoken about already. So no, I'm mega, mega proud of you. So thank you as well for being vulnerable. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing, Ritu. It was very good to hear. So for myself, at first due to the challenges, what held me back the last year, um, my it really didn't feature in my list of priorities at all. Everything else that I wanted to focus on in 2024, I managed to do that. So I'm very proud of myself of having done everything that was on my list, but just focusing on am I eating enough well or am I exercising? It wasn't just featuring on my priorities at all. Having done quite a lot in 2024, I feel quite satisfied with myself. And I find that instead of treating myself with more clothes, I could get into this and see what I make of it. Um, a very small achievement that I've made already today was when I was preparing dinner, I thought about what I'm eating. In 2024, I would have gone, okay, I'll just make something so that I can get back to work as early as possible, or I can pick up a book and finish some reading that I had to do. So the shift in focus is primarily what was lacking, and I'm able to do that. I'm kind of committed to make that change. The second thing is that I was predominantly working from home, and I've not joined, let's say, a book club or a gym or whatever. So I have had practically zero human interaction with people outside of work. And I'm really looking forward to the group sessions and actually meeting people who are talking about things other than what I work for. So that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. Um, and in general, I was just too poor, in terms of even thinking about going for a walk, which I did today. I mean, if it
Yay.
was 2024, I would have thought that, oh, okay, I'm just going to order, get some groceries in instead of going myself. And there were no reasons why I was doing that. I was just not thinking about it. And now that I am, I think I'm starting to make step changes.
Love
Hopefully
that.
they last.
Yeah, they will. It's already taken that conscious step to make that happen. So well done. And on the aspect of social interaction as well, we will be meeting up. Okay, so I need to get some dates in the diary. I'll put a poll in the group in maybe in the next few days, maybe even tonight. But just pop a few, ideas in terms of like when, get the feelers out to find out when people can make it to maybe a London location, because I think that's probably the easiest for everyone to make it to. Whether that's for Saturday or a Sunday, we'll just sort of iron out those details and go with the majority. But yeah, yeah. If anyone else wants to jump in, let me know, and if not, we'll move forward. Okay, cool. All right. So let's think about what success actually, what does success look like for you, right? So again, we've kind of looked at some of these things. We've kind of jumped ahead of ourselves here, but taking a moment again, if you are listening back to this, imagining your ideal outcomes for 2025. So now we've thought a little bit about what the past was, what we wanted to, what some of the setbacks were, etc. But now thinking more about sort of physical health, energy levels, and confidence. So again, whilst I'm talking, just again, jot down, write a few notes down about what you feel success is going to look like and feel like for you in 2025. And remember that this is going to be unique to you, to your goals, to where you are now in your life. And again, you can keep this private. You don't have to share it with the group now. Um, I think it will be quite exciting to write it down. Maybe again, we can one to one. You can share that with me, or maybe even in the WhatsApp, the shared WhatsApp group later. That would be quite fun as well, and maybe even get some of the other girls excited about the future as well. But just taking a few moments to think about the year ahead. So there'll be some key milestones within this year. Thinking about birthdays, maybe some holidays as well. Thinking about maybe how you want to feel when you go and approach some of these things. And again, it doesn't always have to be about changing aesthetics in any way. It can be as simple as feeling stronger and going, do you know what? I'm not out of breath, or I feel like I can really own my shopping bags when I'm sort of carrying them back home, or again, maybe there's something to be said about how you operate at work and how you maintain that work life self-care balance. Maybe within your vision for 2025, you instill something else in there. Um, I'll share with you that I've been trying to think about my own bits of self-care and uh, build that into my months or weeks. Doing things like going to sit in a sauna once a week, or like at a spa, swimming, going swimming, and actually having the back end of last year. Gosh, I can't believe I'm saying last year, but the back end of last year, I had a bit of a back injury, if you like. It was quite funny actually how it happened, but not so funny recovering. I'm way better now. I'm like back on full form and ready to move forward. But for me, I realized I needed to start taking massages. So I've actually now got once a month, I've got a girl that I go and see and go and get massage. I get massage done. We iron out any tight spots on me, and yeah, we also just have a nice little chat. So again, even just things like that about, self-care, maybe even having in your routine, like washing your hair. That's like such a big deal. I got a hair mask from my brother. We did Secret Santa Christmas. We did it years ago and it failed miserably, but we did it this time and he had to buy for me, and obviously he got help from his wife, but he bought me a hair mask. So now I'm like, oh, okay, now I've got to spend time washing my hair. Well, the day that I picked to wash my hair, I've got to make sure I spend 3 to 5 minutes to leave in the hair mask, or however long it is. So just small little things like that just allow you to slow down and stop, because it's so easy to overfill your cup and just run and start the year like a hamster on a wheel, just go 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 go, ticking every box you can, every box you can. And I think it's just, yeah, it's so important to kind of just actually allow yourself some time and space to breathe and chill out. So again, when we're thinking about goals, we've all heard of SMART goals at some point. I know that I've heard about it. It's the sort of things that I guess, yeah, every course or part of my career, any job that I've had, anything that I've done throughout my year, there's always throughout my life, should I say, there's always been SMART goals have been present. So I think they're really, again, it's one of those cliche things, but I think it really helps create a framework in identifying how to think about goals. So you do want to be specific. You want to be clear about what it is that you want to achieve. So I have put an example below. But yeah, let's just say that you just want to improve your fitness. Now, I've been quite vague and generic here because I don't want it to kind of feel like it's directing any person in any which way in terms of how they should feel. But let's say, for example, this year, again, I do personally want to do a photo shoot again. I think they're fun. There's something that I find exciting to kind of drive towards. So I will also be looking at dropping a little bit of body fat. So again, I'm going to be specific about what I want to achieve and how I want to feel. But how am I going to do that whilst maintaining my energy for you ladies? how am I going to do that in terms of making sure that I'm still bringing the most to your goals and the program as well. So I think it's when you apply this to your life, what's the specific goal? How can you measure this? So in what metric are we measuring this? How do we make it achievable and realistic? Because again, you can say, oh, well, I want to lose, X amount of kilos within X date. I mean, yes, you can do that, but you have to think, well, if we're balancing all plates in life, at what sort of, how do we do this in a way that's not going to overspill into other areas of life and be more negative and harmful than positive? So again, always think about aligning it to the bigger vision. So, maybe we can set up mini goals in terms of, from now until thinking about quarters in the year. So the first quarter of the year, this is what I want to achieve by, what would that be? By the end of March or beginning of April, this is where I want to get to. Okay, now next target, this is where I want to be to. So having that sort of time bound deadline as well around that. So hopefully that also helps create some more clarity with building this vision for yourselves as well. And please, by all means, run it with me, run it by me. Let's have a conversation, and we can explore ideas and think about what you're looking to achieve and just seeing, well, is this actually realistic? And maybe you need reminding that there's something else going on. I know that some of the girls that are on this program are also studying. So whether they're studying because of the nature of their career, because they work in the medical industry and this is what they have to do, they have to study whilst doing this. Or there's another girl that's actually, she's setting herself up to start her PhD later on this year. So there are other things, other stressors, other things that you need to think about as well. It's not just, here's the stuff to lose X amount of weight or build X amount of muscle or achieve whatever metric it is within this shorter time. It's thinking about balance altogether. I'm going to hold space for a moment. Rekha, did you want to speak? Or I think.
I was just going to say mine's going to be a bit interesting because I'm going from a year off and having all the time in the world, but having other stresses in life to deal with, to actually starting work on Monday and trying to fit in. Because I think over the past couple of months, I've actually started to have time for myself, and I have been making time for spas and, go and sit in the sauna, and I'm fine fitting in 3, 4 times a week at the gym and stuff. Nutrition's been a big one for me, but now I'm actually going back to work. I think my goal is going to be, am I going to actually maintain this side of it? Because I haven't worked for a while.
Yeah, I think that's again, I think a conversation that you and I are going to have together anyway, in terms of helping you
Yeah,
set that tone also. But just even now, realizing that maybe to plug in, because obviously work will be full on as soon as you go back, but maybe even just go, you know what, by the third weekend of January, this day, I'm going to set spa day for myself at the gym. And it's in the
yeah,
diary. Go, that day, it's going to happen. So even again, I know it's not great because you've had the frequency has been a lot more, but you've plugged it in. And then you go, right, in terms of gym, every Tuesday and every Friday, this is what I'm going to do. Or, I'll also be able to get in another day on a Sunday, for example, what have you. But just thinking realistically, there'll be some evenings that again, I know that you've got other people that you need to help and to, to other stresses and things to deal with. So I think it's important to think about those, consider what, when you do realize or when you do find out what your working schedule is going to be like, because we know that there
yeah,
are going to be some challenges around knowing what that looks like. So hopefully that creates some more clarity once you find out more. But yeah, you've got this. You totally can do it. Okay, 1000%. Some weeks are going to look different, but it's okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. And then this kind of ties in now, mindset for success, believing in yourself. So our mindset is our biggest ally. this year. So we know that challenges are going to come up. That's a given. But how you approach them is going to make all the difference, because again, every time something bad, ugly, or horrible happens, if we allow that to kind of break down the walls and give up, we're never going to move forward. So I think it's understanding that life is always going to be filled with challenges. I think in some ways, does it make things exciting? I don't know. Arguably, maybe some, maybe not, depending on the scenarios. But if it was smooth sailing, again, one of the things that I like to look at is that when we have challenges, they're actually an opportunity for us to learn and grow from. And I think everything that we do in life is about getting better at the stuff, getting better at things. Life is almost like a game in that sense. It's, level 1, level 2, level 10, like, okay, how can I do this better, the better. So we're always going to get setbacks, and it will always be, that resilience, that mindset, looking at them, as I say, the sort of growth mindset, seeing challenges as opportunities to grow. And really important to replace that self-doubt with self-compassion, because again, I think it's so easy to punish yourself and, I didn't do this, give yourself some grace when things don't go perfectly. It's not always going to be to plan. So I think it's really important that we lay the foundation of sort of committing to show up for ourselves. Because if you don't show up for yourself, who's going to show up for you? And I know that some of you have younger people in your lives, whether it's children or nieces or nephews or, younger family members that look up to you. They look at you as being that sort of, that inspiring figure. And, if you don't show up for yourself, how can others show up for you? But also, how can you show up for others? So to drive forward with that optimism and that resilience this year, and just know that you can achieve things. And yeah, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement, and nothing can be done without hope and confidence. So just have that hope, have that inspiring thought there, and know that we're going to push through this confidently as well. So a couple of habits, or 3 key habits for momentum. So again, thinking about the small steps and big results. We hear this all the time, consistency. But again, these building blocks, they're going to help, the building the habits over time is going to be the thing that helps you get there, rather than relying on the motivation. Because when motivation dips, all the little small tick boxes, all the small wins that you've been doing are going to show up. They're gonna show as the success. So it's just being consistent. And you could say to yourself, I saw an example actually on social media, maybe yesterday or the day before, and I thought, oh, well, that's a really interesting perspective. And I think it was one of those like, yeah, we know this. But they gave 2 examples, and they said, who is going to get better results this year? The person that only works out twice a week, but does it the whole year? Or the person that works out 6 times a week and gives up by May? At the beginning, you think, oh my God, the person that's done 6 days a week, yeah, they're winning at this. Well, no, actually, the person that only committed to 2 times a week but stayed consistent the whole entire year is going to have more progress or more benefits than the person that just went hell for leather and all in, and then just gave up, and burnout set in, and everything just comes crashing down. So again, I think it's really important that we stick to the baseline. We have that baseline and say, well, this is our non-negotiables. This is what I am going to do as do or die. And it's at this level. It's not up here. It's at this level. And then you just feed in the other bits. The other bits come in, and they'll obviously help us. So when it comes to accountability, Our check-ins, our self-reflection processes are great because they allow us to see, week on week, to stack those behaviors and those habits and those reflections. Obviously, we've got our WhatsApp group, and you ladies have been great within there. There's, great chat, great advice, great tips and tricks and stuff, and it's just quite a nice place to kind of a safe space to kind of dip in and get some energy and support one another as well, especially when it comes to meeting each other. I really hope that also helps build some, friendship and some more, yeah, it's just some more fun within that group as well. I've always found that on the back of having some of these in-person meetups and stuff, people are definitely a lot more engaging in the group. And then, yeah, flexibility. Oh, actually, accountability buddy. Well, we are each other's accountability buddies. You can have maybe somebody like, a friend or somebody that you kind of high five when you go to the gym and you go, right, yep, I know you're doing your workout, I'm doing mine, but you showed up, I showed up, and we got it done. But yeah, even without thinking about the gym, maybe even just thinking about getting that walk in, maybe telling someone, your partner or a friend, and just saying, do you know what? Can you just check in with me? I'm just going to make sure I get this done. But aside from that, you've got me, right? I'm here to check that you are being held accountable. I am your accountability buddy, and we can do this in ways that's tough and tough love and harsh, or we could do ways as well that sort of kind of understand a little bit more about what you're going through as well, not being that happy medium. And then yeah, the flexibility. So again, life gets busy, but you just have to keep showing up and also knowing that we can make adjustments here and there. Some of the girls have very different weeks, week on week, with shift works and stuff. So again, there needs to be different weeks going on. So just kind of understanding that. And then, yeah, when we've just had Christmas, and prior to that we had Diwali, and what's coming up next. I don't know how much of a big thing people make of what's the next thing in the diary. Is it Valentine's Day? Can you imagine? But just even still, just thinking about other things that are coming up, you just to have that flexibility for sure. Yes, Rekha.
I was say Easter's already out in the supermarkets. If you've been out, they've
Yeah.
already got all the Easter stuff in, and you're just like, oh my God, we're not even over Christmas. It's sort of a bit crazy.
Oh, I love that. I think it's I've always remembered Boxing Day walking into Tesco's and you go down the seasonal aisle and there's Easter eggs already. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you know what? Just don't buy
just
that
don't go to the
now.
shops.
Yeah. Well, or just buy it later. What I've done, because I obviously, so I don't know if some of you girls know, but I am a vegan, so I don't eat like regular chocolate and stuff. I have vegan chocolate. So that stuff always runs out first. So I do have to go and buy it early when it comes in because otherwise it's gone. So I just throw it up really high above cabinets or whatever, and I just stick it up there because it's just an absolute pain to get it down, and then it's outside, out of mind. But I had to do that for my advent calendar. But I'm very good with my advent calendar. One of my sisters, I really don't like her for it, but she's one of those girls, since we've been a kid, she'll open all the doors, eats all the chocolate, closes the doors, and then I'm like, what was the point? What was the point? Whereas I'm very much, no, the first is the first. And if I skip a day, maybe I get two on that one day. Yeah, stay away from the Easter eggs right now. It's too early. The Easter Bunny won't be happy. They've got to be hidden first, you see. That'll
Oh,
be one.
Yeah, I've actually done a really big step and given up something that I love. So my New Year's resolution is not to touch chocolate this year. And actually, I'm on day two and I don't miss it at all. I
Okay.
want to see the Easter eggs, and I'm like, I'll just walk past it. I think I've had too much over Christmas, like I've had
Christmas.
my fair share as well. But yeah, it's a big step for me, and I think at the same time, it's a way of kind of giving me a bit more discipline. And focusing actually on my goals and getting my sweet fixes from natural stuff, like
Yeah.
so strawberries and cream and fruit and things like that. So yeah.
I think I showed you did I show you the Sweet Freedom Choc Shop tubes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
even that, anything remotely with
with
cocoa, I've
chocolate.
just basically said no.
No. Okay. All right.
Just
Be kind to yourself, Sital, because yeah, yeah, just one day at a time. Let's see how we go. Okay. I adore chocolate. It's brilliant. But yeah, definitely we get to that point after Christmas where you're just sick of it, right?
yeah, it's day two,
It
so
also,
doing
it
something
also
right.
I was going to say, it also feels better when you're just really strict and just go, no, I'm not having any of it, instead of I'll have some once a month. Because if you're anything like me, if I say I'm going to have some once a month, I'll be like, brilliant, I can eat so much of it. Because I'm having it once a month, then it just undoes everything. I'm the same. I just go, right, all or nothing.
Hmm.
I think
Okay.
part of me is more again, it's mindset, it's discipline. So this is something that's going to keep me on track. Because obviously, like I think maybe you might have missed the conversation about how I was associating like emotional eating with obviously comfort food and then chocolate being one of them and biscuits and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So and also trying to reduce like caffeine too. So I need my coffee, but then if I can cut back on chocolates and stuff like that, then yeah.
All in balance, all in balance. I mean, once a month. Yeah, every day. Just do it every day. Right. I think we could talk about chocolate for ages. Um, yeah. Okay. Where were we? We are going to go through some visualization. So again, a little bit cheesy, but you can stay with me on this. But closing your eyes and imagining that it's December 31st, 2025, and right now you're feeling more stronger, more confident, and more accomplished. And what I want you to think about is what this day looks like for you and how do you feel and who is cheering you on. So you can spend a few moments just thinking about that as well. So if we kind of you've kind of read some of the things on screen here, but close your eyes, literally just do it and just work with me here. Okay? I think Juhi's already done it. But Sital and Rekha, if you want to close your eyes. So again, just close your eyes, take a deep breath and imagine it's the end of 2025 and you're just looking back on the year. You've absolutely smashed your goals. And I want you to think about the end of the year and that day, December 31st. What does that day look like for you? What are you doing that day? Is that a reflection of who you are now? And how do you feel physically and mentally? And then I want you to think about a word that describes this version of yourself. And then just hold on to that vision and just knowing that that word and that vision is going to be your guide this year. That will be your North Star for 2025. Take a breath in, hold it, envision. That's the future. Exhale, open your eyes. We're back here. And then just make a note down as well on your bit of paper. Whatever came to mind, maybe again, maybe it's that word that you thought of. Just write that word down and that word describing who you are. And maybe write it somewhere. You can color it in or have it printed off or what have you, or put it in lights. And then, yeah, every time you kind of think of that word, you go, right, that's the one. That's who I am, December 31st, 2025. Okay. So we are going to talk about some January non-negotiables. So again, you can think about one or two non-negotiables for this month. So we just bring it back to January. Forget about the year ahead for the moment. Don't think about, all of a sudden I've got to conquer the whole year. It's nice to visualize that stuff. It's nice to set the tone, but now bring it back to January and think about some of the things that you might do this month in order to propel you forward and to make, winning this month, winning January? What are we going to do? I think we've got a nice clear. January is always that very long month. It's about 3 months long, January. So just thinking about the things that you're going to do. Again, it could be drinking more water, making sure that your strength or resistance training 3 times a week, preparing some lunch ahead of work time. And again, even with preparing lunch, you don't have to do those, big laying out boxes like you see on Instagram where they've got 16 boxes for the whole week and they fill them up. Don't do that to yourself. Just think about, I've bought some veggies. Let me chop them up ahead of time, stick them in the fridge. All right, I can see protein there. I can see protein sources there. Okay, just visualize and go, right, take note, take a mental note. Even preparing things like that to know what you're going to go and grab and go for, especially when you are in busy times, hectic times, is really good. So it's a good idea for sure. Want to share any non-negotiables?
I have.
Yes.
So I should go to the gym twice a week. I shouldn't compromise on that. And then for now, if I start being more mindful about what I'm eating and introduce protein in every meal, which I luxuriously skipped in the last year. So
Okay.
that's all.
Good. I like that. And maybe some action for moving in some way each day, some form of moving,
Yeah.
even if it's just stretching and getting down and doing something. There's some sort of moving. Even with that, just as a tip, if it is a crazy day, taking 5 minutes aside and going, do you know what, I'm just going to stretch. Use the wall behind you. You can do some thread needles on the wall. You can sit on the ground. You can do a couch stretch. If there's something you're watching, there's all sorts of different things that you can kind of feed in movement somehow. Anyone else? Seatal?
I would say I'm really bad at this, trying to switch off at 10 o'clock, put my phone away, and maybe take some time out for myself and do reading. I've got so many books that I want to read, but I'm really bad because I like scroll through Instagram quite a lot. And also 10K, 8 to 10K, I'd say. I say 10K, that's my ultimate goal until you change it, Richu, but minimum 8 to 10K steps a
Okay,
day.
perfect. I really like the idea of getting rid of your phone. I am a sucker for that myself. So I definitely would recommend getting your phone. Again, I know it's not great to do things like nighttime charges and stuff, but do you wear a smartwatch to bed? So if you have your smartwatch on and then you just put your phone in the other room, you're still going to wake up with your watch and you're still going to be able to see any emergency calls or anything like that might come through. But maybe again, having the action or putting your phone on the other side of the room also helps as well. And then
So
you'll always have that do not disturb, or that's, I think, is it your favorites list? So again, when it comes to anything that comes up as an emergency, it's that those things will ping off to you. It won't be everyone or everything. And even turning off notifications from WhatsApp and is it what? No, Instagram, those apps, mine are all off. Those ones are off.
I have do not disturb, but I'm a sucker, so I switch it off. But I'm going to actually look at getting a lamp on the side.
Illumi.
Um, yeah, and because the thing is, I listen to sleep music, sometimes do like sleep meditation to calm me down, like bring my anxiety down, so I can actually rest before I go to sleep and kind of drift off. And then hopefully have it programmed so that it will wake me up as well. But yeah, I need to be a bit more disciplined and make sure not I don't switch off my do not disturb as well.
Step one, for sure. I think that's step one. There's levels, isn't there? Maybe even make a note of that and going, level one is this, level two is this, level three is this. Level one would be don't turn off the do not disturb. Level two might be stick my phone in the other room, and level three might be program the Lumi to do that way. Because again, I think even when we're thinking about an action, it's so easy to go, I'll just do the hardest thing, but actually think about it in levels. Again, Reka.
Mine's going to be water, making sure I drink 2 liters of water a day. I don't struggle with the intake of it. I just forget to do it. So I just need to keep my bottle with me at all times, I think. And then the other one is getting more sleep. I
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but there's no time in the day. And then, as you're saying, scrolling on your phone. Even if I get into bed by 11, I'm still on my phone at 1 o'clock, scrolling through or replying through messages or doing some shopping that I don't need and then forgetting what I've bought in the morning, and stuff like that. So, especially with going back to work, I've said to myself, I'm going to get into bed at 10 and make sure I'm asleep, like, ready to be sleeping by 10:30.
Yeah.
So even if I just give myself half an hour and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the sleep and the water is will help me then be better during the day and make
100%.
better choices and stuff. Yeah.
100%. The sleep is magic, is where all the magic happens. Sleep is going to be great for hormonal function and regulation, appetite control as well, or loads of different things. All the magic happens in sleep. And yes, water is going to be great at helping increase those energy levels. Again, when it comes to getting to sleep, maybe even writing a note down as well now, like after this call or during, but writing almost like an action list on a piece of paper and going, these are the things I have to do before I go to bed. And like maybe blue tack it somewhere. I don't know, your maybe not your fridge, maybe bathroom mirror or wherever. Okay. But even just having something there that you kind of go, right, lights go off, back doors shut. I check that the knobs on the gas hob are off because that always freaks me out. Always have this thing that they're on. So twiddling those, maybe it might be getting all the shoes and pairing them up by the front, in your front door area, making sure they're all just something. She's laughing at me now.
I don't love my OCD.
It's the OCD kicking in. Whatever it is, it's that wind down. And then, for goodness sake, brushing your teeth, flossing. Flossing is, you always think, I always do this and I go, yeah, I've got 5 minutes to, 5 minutes to get to bed. Oh, five. Yeah, I'll jump in the shower and pajamas ready to bed. And then you go, oh crap, no, actually, this stuff takes longer. So actually, maybe even setting a timer and finding out how long does this bedtime routine take me? How long does
Yeah.
it take me to cleanse and tone or whatever your routine is before you get to bed? How long do I feel like I really need to make sure I floss properly? All of those little things, put a timer on it and then just go, right, okay, bang, I'm ready for bed, and then just work backwards on time and hopefully that helps.
I
Yeah.
just want to add something to that
Yes.
as well. So obviously I'm a sucker for going through my phone and everything. And I think for me it's like I'm adamant to have my time. Like obviously the kids are off on holiday, so they go to sleep about 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock. And then by the time I switched off and tidied up, I'm so adamant to have that time back and do something for myself. Again, it's down to mindset as well, trying to get my mind out of it and saying, well, if I want to scroll, this is not the time to scroll. Um, so it's like, yeah, I think one of my questions, or probably something we can raise in the group, is how do you claim that time back, especially when you've got a busy lifestyle, working, and then I've got young family and everything, and then trying to get training in steps and everything like that. So yeah, it turns into a vicious cycle when you're like, I want that time, and then you don't know where you are. Like you're scrolling. I do the same thing, buy stuff that I don't need, and then I forget about what's been delivered, and my husband's like, it's for you.
I'm the same. I usually parcel arrives and I'm like, oh,
Oh, is that,
when did
yeah.
But I think the best time to get that time back is first thing in the morning when the world's still asleep. And
Agreed.
the kids are still asleep, or not everybody needs your time, and the only person that needs your time is you. So I think when I first started working out and I had a PT, she'd be like, I'll see you at the gym at 6. And I just look at her going, are you crazy? I'm not getting out of bed for nobody at that time. I just want to sleep. But then as well, I went once and I thought, oh, actually, if that's the only time I'm going to get her, and I started going and I found that actually it was really nice because it was just calm and peaceful and nobody else needed me. There was no meeting that I needed to dial in for, or, you know, my mum didn't need me or whatever because everybody's still asleep. And
Mm.
if all those little jobs, I'd make a list of it the night before and say, these are the key things that I need to do for me tomorrow. And I'd set my alarm to wake up at like 6 or half 5 or whatever, which then also made me go to sleep earlier because I was tired. So the whole pattern just changes and you've got time for yourself in the morning.
Yeah,
So it's the only time nobody needs you because they're still asleep.
there you go. Bank it the other way round for sure. It's hard,
Yeah.
but especially if your kids are staying up late, well, then maybe, reverse engineering that and doing it the other way around. They're not going to be up early, are
I
they?
feel like Sita's thinking, why are you making me get up so early?
She's like, I'm on holidays too. But
Oh, actually, no, they get up early on holidays and wake up late on school days.
oh, crikey.
But I completely understand Rekha's point because obviously, Richard, we spoke about my journey where I was so disciplined and used to get up at 5 a.m. and to the gym and 5:30, and it's the best time to train, I would say. I mean, once you get into that routine, I think what was it? It takes 40 days to build a habit. And once you get into that cycle, then you're sort of plain sailing. But it's kind of now you're in this vicious cycle. You're trying to like break free, and your mind is telling you something, and your body's just not catching up with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, we'll
thank
get
you.
there. Anyway, just to say, we've got this, and 2025 is going to be your year to shine. It's the small steps every day. And remember, progress is better than perfection. And the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I thought that was a really nice quote. But yes, just to kind of finalize, we're going to make this year amazing together. Okay. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining me this evening. You can go and head into the group and share your biggest or smallest takeaway from this session tonight. And I will catch you all tomorrow. And yeah, make sure that you get those, phones in the other room switched off, get away from scrolling. But I'm going to love you and leave you. And I will see you next time. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Bye.
Bye.